our most revered, most beloved Professor Vishwanath Karad, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, Rahul Karad, Mangesh Karad, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Chitnis, Honorable Dinesh Gowda, Honorable Dinesh Sohab, distinguished personalities on the dais, looks like a manifestation of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If you just look at this whole word is one as a symbol, as a message, as this not only the biggest, but the most effective, most inspiring message-giving auditorium, I would say, actually gives, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 10th World Parliament of Science, Spirituality, Religion, and Philosophy. Yesterday was Gandhi Jayanti. Yesterday was also an International Day of Non-Violence. And yesterday was also a day of greatest contradiction in the world. As we are celebrating International Day of Non-Violence, there were 200 missiles flying from Iran towards Israel. And the wars, the battles are going on, Gaza, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, and so on and so forth. How do we celebrate an International Day of Non-Violence? I will start with that big challenge that we have. And you can now understand why this meeting, this conference, this parliament is so important. In my life, I have done nothing but science, so I will speak only on the subject that I know, that is on science, on spirituality, because that is what we are supposed to be focusing on. And there are giant scholars like Dr. Karan Singh, from whom we listen and learn a little later. Professor Karad, as I always call him, is an institution. And sir, you have been pushing this value-based universal education and bringing science and spirituality in higher education from the time I have known you. And it is so important. Because the purpose of higher education is not only to prepare students for successful careers, but also to nurture well-rounded individuals who can contribute to a better society. But if you look at the current higher education system, they prioritize academic knowledge and technical skill at the expense of values, empathy, and inner well-being. And therefore, integrating science and spirituality becomes very, very critical. If you also look at the current higher educational model, it is fragmented. It emphasizes specialization, it emphasizes technical knowledge, but without regard to the ethical implications. And this has resulted in professionals who may excel technically, but are disconnected from ethical consequences of of the work. And one can give several examples like that. The value-based universal education system that integrates science and spirituality can address the limitations of the current educational model, and that can promote the holistic development. It can promote ethical leadership. It can promote compassionate approach to the challenges. And by combining the analytical strength of science with the depth and wisdom of spirituality, we can nurture a new generation of leaders who can not only excel professionally, but also emotionally intelligent, as was mentioned a little earlier, ethical, and deeply committed to welfare of humanity. I would like to talk about the intersection of science and spirituality. Now, if you look at this, there are certain similarities, certain differences, but there is an intersection. And there is a case for building bridges. If you look at the methodology of science, and I've been a scientist all my life, we rely on empirical evidence, we rely on experimentation, we rely on reproducibility, and we use observation, we use measurement, we use logical reasoning. But if you look at spirituality, it is more experiential, it is more subjective, it is more introspective, and it involves personal experiences and feelings that may not be measurable or even observable. For example, in studying consciousness, science tries to understand through brain scans and neural activity, while spirituality looks at consciousness as a lived experience, something that can be felt through meditation and introspection. There is a difference. If you look at science, it is objective. It aims to provide explanations that can be verified universally, regardless of who is conducting the observation, anywhere in the world. Spirituality is subjective. It focuses on personal experiences and insights which can vary from person to person. There is a major difference. For example, quantum physics. It describes particles as waves and probabilities, while spirituality may interpret interconnectedness of particles as evidence of a deeper cosmic unity, something individuals feel personally rather than empirically demonstrate. So there is again a fundamental difference. So we can see that, but there is a similarity. One of the foremost is seeking truth. Both science and spirituality are dedicated to discovering truth about existence and about the universe. For example, just as a physicist seeks to understand the laws of the universe, a spiritual practitioner seeks to understand the nature of the self and its place in the cosmos. Both are pursuing an understanding of deeper truths just through different means. That's what it means. If you look at curiosity, both require curiosity, open-mindedness, and desire to explore the unknown. For example, scientists like Einstein and spiritual masters like the Buddha have both demonstrated profound curiosity about fundamental questions. What is the nature of reality? What is the nature of suffering, respectively? And in their advanced stages, both science and spirituality point towards interconnectedness. Like the quantum entanglement concept in physics shows that particles are deeply interconnected, regardless of the distance. Spiritual traditions have long taught the interconnectedness of all life, often expressed as we are one. This is very interesting. So I think there is a big case for understanding and building the complementarity of science and spirituality. And like, for example, neuroscience can explain the changes in brain structure due to meditation, such as increased gray matter. Meanwhile, spirituality offers the practitioner the personal experience of inner peace and altered consciousness that is brought through meditation. So together they provide a fuller picture how meditation impacts the mind and body. So we are talking about both peace within and peace outside. I can go on and explain to you why that interconnected perspective is important. Take, for example, climate change. Science will provide the data. It will provide technological solutions. It will provide methods to reduce emissions. But spirituality can inspire individuals and communities to shift towards more sustainable lifestyles by fostering a deep connection with the earth as sacred. Earth as sacred. Okay? So I think there are very strong cases for bringing these together. I'd like to end my talk, and I still have 10 minutes to go, but I'll finish earlier. And that has to do with, I was asking a question, all these wars that are going on, and we are looking helplessly at those wars. All right? And UN has become defunct, as you can quite clearly see. So what can we do? Can we get inspiration from the past on how spirituality has helped in resolving conflicts, in avoiding wars, and so on? I found some interesting cases, by the way. And I'd like to narrate those to you because this is the need of the hour as the wars are going on. A brilliant example is the Vietnamese monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. He advocated for mindfulness and inner peace as tools to end the Vietnam War. He founded the Order of Interbeing and traveled the world speaking about peace, and his influence helped bring attention to the importance of finding peace within oneself to radiate it, inspiring peace activists across the globe. Take another example, Dalai Lama. His message of compassion. Dalai Lama, despite losing his homeland and enduring persecution, has consistently preached compassion even toward Chinese government. His approach has prevented an escalation into a violent Tibetan uprising and instead focused on dialogue, emphasizing empathy and mutual understanding, which garnered global sympathy and support for Tibetan cause. Look at a third example, Nelson Mandela. If you see his post-apartheid leadership, it's incredible. After his release from prison after 2 decades, Nelson Mandela focused on national reconciliation rather than vengeance. He could have gone for vengeance, he did not. He went for reconciliation. His spiritual practice, which included forgiveness and transcending ego-driven retribution, enabled South Africa to move towards healing rather than falling into the civil war. He avoided the civil war. Remember that. We need a Nelson Mandela today. We need a Nelson Mandela today. And if you can see, Mandela's leadership showcased how letting go of egoistic desires could pave the way for peace. Our own Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha, entire philosophy of non-violence and truth, addressed the fears and insecurities that often lead to violence. For example, during Indian independence struggle, he encouraged Indians to face the fear of British repression with non-violent resistance, emphasizing the inner strength over militaristic responses. And indeed, his leadership demonstrated that embracing spiritual courage could lead to freedom without the need of a violent conflict. And I would talk about Martin Luther King, deeply inspired by Gandhi's teachings in Ahimsa, used non-violence as a core strategy in the struggle for civil rights in America. I think all these examples actually illustrate the spirituality, when put into practice, can indeed bring about profound shifts in individual and collective consciousness, facilitating peace and understanding even in the most conflict-ridden situations like we have today. The spiritual approach does not rely on force, it does not rely on domination, but on values that elevate human interactions beyond ego and violence. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the need of the hour. And I will follow my younger brother, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar. He finished exactly when 6 minutes were remaining for his speech. I will also finish exactly when 6 minutes are remaining for his speech. Thank you very much.